And hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. What's up? Paul Tranny here with one and only Meg Lewis. Good to have you here. We're doing hand dance. I don't know what we're doing,
I guess we
but I
are.
like I like the move. I like this. You do a shoulder dance. When you're sitting down and you want to
Yeah,
move.
we don't have much space to work with our
Yeah,
bodies, so you got to use what you
exactly.
have.
That's right. We're getting loose. We're getting ready to draw and create and have some fun with the one and only Meg Lewis. How you doing, Meg? Doing well
I'm doing
today?
great.
You're getting all loosened up and ready to take over the next 2 hours. So this will
That's
be
right. My
fun.
shoulders feel good. The rest of my body below what you can see is just in excruciating pain.
What? No, it's not.
No, it's not. I mean, it is mostly just because I do nothing but sit all the time,
Yeah,
every day,
right.
all
I
year
know.
long.
We're this far away from getting the chair that goes upstairs.
Yes.
Just sitting all the
Yes.
time.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I do worry. I know this isn't a real concern because this is not realistic, but I do worry every so often that I'm going to forget how to move the rest of my body because I'm amazed that I can still walk around okay because I definitely am just never
Yeah.
going anywhere, never moving the lower half
You
of my
know.
body.
Yeah. Yeah. You,
Anyway,
you look down. You're like, what are those two things? Yeah, those are your legs. You use
what do
them
they do?
sometimes. What are they? What are they doing? So it's kind of like arms for the lower half of your body, maybe. No, maybe not. All right.
Wow, it's like these things,
Yeah, kind of like
but they're
those,
bigger.
but they're
Who are
bigger.
the
Well, it's super good to have you here today. Yeah, for day two, you could always catch day one sort of on demand below us. If you're joining us over on YouTube, head over to behance.net / Adobe Live. That's where we'll be hanging out. We're watching chat. Want to welcome, of course, Antonia and Noor and Vikas and Ryan. Everybody's saying, hey, Meg, what's up? Hello from Birmingham, UK. Awesome. Claudia's here. She's going to be up next. Bethany as well. So I want to give you a warm welcome. Also, if you're new here, would love to hear from you as well. So just, type something in chat and say hello, and we want to say hi to you. So yeah, that's the plan. We do have a challenge. Of course, Jesus just wrapped that up. So you can click that challenge tab, and it's all about making an album cover using the Style Transfer Neural filter, which is really awesome. So go ahead and do that. It's actually pretty easy with amazing results, and we'll review those an hour and a half, an hour 45 from now. So yeah, at around, if I'm doing my math correctly, 9:30, 10:30, 11:15, between 11 and 11:15 Pacific. So that's all I got. And again, I guess we'll just dive into this, Meg. I'm doing all this talking. I'm kind of done with my talking.
You've done
So,
great. You've done great. I feel the warm welcome has been received, and I'm
good.
so excited to get back into it. Should we do a little recap of what happened yesterday, just in case people missed it?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Let's do that. Okay,
Yay.
so here on the old desktop of mine, I just have some stuff that I've been working on yesterday. I have done nothing more. Do not worry, I didn't work without you. Everything I've done in this process so far of finding a personal illustration style unique to me has been done on yesterday's live stream. So if you missed that, I'll give you a quick old recap and we'll just be on our merry way moving forward. So this process isn't necessarily about me. It's all about you and helping you to define an illustration style that's unique for you. I'm just using myself as an example because I'm the only person I know that well. Uh, so let's just pop open this file, this Photoshop file I titled Pizza Rolls Are Very Delicious.psd. And this is what we worked on yesterday. Yesterday was the very ambiguous but crucial part of this process of doing the initial self-discovery work to figure out what makes our personalities who we are, what makes our personalities unique and special and amazing, and what is those crucial pieces that make us who we are, right? And whenever you smush all those pieces together, it makes you, who's a person that's unlike anybody else in the whole world, which is just what a delightful thing. So the reason why we have a mood board in front of us is because yesterday we worked to put those things about yourself into visuals, how to actually translate those into visual information. And what we're looking at now is all of my unique personality traits and lifelong points of inspiration translated into visual images. So whether it was thinking abstractly about the fact that I love change, trying to assess what I love so much about change, changing seasons, high contrast, things like that, changing facial expressions, that kind of thing. I popped those in there. And then we also have some literal elements. Like my whole life, I've been literally inspired by clowns and mimes. So I threw those in there too. So right now we're looking at the makings of my personal illustration style, which just is very, very confusing and ambiguous at this point. So if you're looking at this, and maybe if you followed along and have made a mood board for yourself and you're like, Meg, how in the world do I make this look like an illustration style? None of this is illustration. None of this has any sort of illustrative element to it. Where do we go from here? And it's going to all start to take shape today, which is just a beautiful, beautiful thing. So I think the wonderful part of this activity is that we are all creative thinkers, which is great. I'm so glad to have you, because doing this process with someone who's not a creative thinker is a lot more painful, but definitely doable still. So since you're a creative thinker, it's going to be a lot easier for your brain to take what's on this mood board and translate it into a visual style, into a style guideline perhaps for yourself. Whereas for other people, I think they don't have the magic in their brains to be able to look at this and translate it to anything. They're just like, what are you talking about? I see a clown and a mime and there's Mr. Bean, there's some trees. Well, the magic of our brains is that we'll be able to translate this into some kind of personal illustration style guidelines and then start to actually create some illustrations from there. So that's what we will be focusing on today.
Sounds great. Yeah, looks good. Yes. I want to know if anybody else, and again, this kind of came from three words or three things that kind of summed you up, which was weird, weird, and then weird. No, just joking. What were the three? I don't even remember. I don't know if it's back there.
It was the fact that I'm weird, that I love change, and then the third one was that I don't take things very seriously.
Okay, thank you very much. So yeah. So so just kind of remind everybody, like, feel free to kind of like follow along. Since this is live, we can have a conversation about all this stuff. I'm curious as to the three things that kind of sum up people in chat as well. So yeah. Me
too, absolutely.
Apply it to yourself, basically.
I'm sure we got a lot of fellow weirdos in the chat for sure. Oh yeah. Yes, so I think it's a fascinating process, because even if you're following along or not, the key takeaway is that our goal here is to be taking what makes us who we are, whether it's our personality, our skill set that comes naturally to us, the things we value, the things that we have been influenced by our whole lives. We're looking for that key information that has remained true about ourselves throughout our lives. So even though you've learned a lot, you've changed your worldview, maybe your identity has changed over time, that's okay, because these things that have remained consistent about you throughout your entire existence, those are the most crucial elements, because it most likely means that those things will remain true about you as you go through your life. Because we don't want to create an illustration style for you that is based on trend information or just based on where you are at this point in your life. We want a style guidelines and a personal illustration style for you that is most likely to remain as consistent as possible, so that you don't have to constantly feel like you're reinventing yourself. Because I don't know, I felt that way throughout most of my career. I felt very much desperate to constantly reinvent myself, constantly redesign my portfolio site, keep up with trends, feel like I was irrelevant, that kind of thing. And it got exhausting, because I constantly felt like I wasn't good enough and like I needed to change and constantly buy new things and whatever to feel better about myself. So this exercise is perfect for finding the information that is crucial to have in order to create an illustration style for you that will last a lifetime. I sound like a jewelry commercial now. So even though you will grow and change as you move through your life, that's totally normal. We want to create a style guideline for you today that will be overarching and high level enough to where you feel like you can still explore within it and explore who you are and change and grow. We don't want it to be as restrictive as possible we don't want you to feel like you can't move and can't explore within that. So when we talk about my style guidelines, which I will continue to use myself as an example today, you'll kind of see how I work with the style guidelines for myself when it comes to my personal illustration style. But I think also a really cool thing about this process is that it's not necessarily just for your illustration style. It can be for so much more. It can be any kind of opportunity where you have to apply visuals to anything that communicates who you are. So beyond illustration style, you can use this for decorating your space that you live in. You can use it whenever you're trying to, dress yourself every day. Anytime where you have to communicate who you are visually. I know it's exhausting, and I'm hoping that this process will make it a lot less exhausting for you.
Yeah, sounds good. And people have been responding, by the way, in chat as well, just kind of, and that's what I like to see. So Bethany, poetic, sensitive, eccentric. Like, there are no wrong answers, which is what's fun about this exercise, And again, lots of weirds. You're surrounded by. Everybody's like, yeah, weird. I'm weird too.
I'm glad we've all found each other.
Yeah, exactly. So
I will say, I think, I work with a lot of people one-on-one with this stuff, and I get a lot of people that are very, we're all very critical about ourselves. So a lot of times the personality traits that jump out at us first are the ones that we've been criticized for most of our lives, or the things other people have pointed out we've tried to hide about ourselves, or we've just been really self-conscious about. But you made a great point. No personality trait is wrong or bad. My rule of thumb is that as long as you're not causing harm to yourself or other people, there is nothing wrong and nothing that needs to change about you. You can utilize everything to your advantage. So those moments when you realize maybe I am hurting someone else, then maybe think about how you can grow and adapt and change. But otherwise, you're doing just great as you are.
I like it. Good advice.
All right. Shall we dive in? I think we should.
Let's do it.
Okay. So looking back at what I have in my own personal style mood board, we've got the 3 personality traits of me being weird. I have some weirdness represented here. That means what weirdness means to me. I have the fact that I love change in here, with metaphorically speaking, through a few different things of, ways that change is important to me. And then I have not taking things too seriously, which I think we see here with my wonderful favorite banana hot dog situation. So now what we do is I just like to open up Illustrator at this point, and I just want to play. I think we don't, as creatives, I think we often don't allow ourselves enough time to just play without worrying about the outcome. And to be honest, preparing for this live stream was really nerve-wracking for me, because this is a big deal. I'm here in front of a lot of people. I should have had a plan because that's what you think you might want in this opportunity. But I also really want to emphasize how important play is and not worrying about the outcome is. So I very intentionally have decided to not think too much about how I want this process to go, because I want you all to see that the goal here is to just play and have fun and try to practice what a style could be for you. Work in different elements, see what's working, see what you like, see what resonates with you, and then toss the rest out the door, out the window, out any open access point to the outdoors. All right. So I'm just going to make I think whenever we're creating artboards or canvases of any kind, I think we all have go-to sizes that really, who knows where they came from, but we're just attached to them. And 3000 pixels by 3000 pixels is one of mine. It's just special to me. I start there often if I don't know where I'm going, and then I'll change the size from there if more clarity comes to mind. All right.
Nice.
And I must mention that I am in light mode on my Illustrator, which usually is a call out that I hear very quickly anytime anyone has to look at my Illustrator screen at all. If you don't like your Illustrator in dark mode, the reason why I like it in lighter mode is because I often go off of my artboard and end up, as we all do sometimes, over here and just everywhere else besides the artboard. And when I have this as white, it allows me to do that very freely, and I don't feel as bad about myself. But whenever it's gray and a different color than the artboard, then I start feeling shame about having gone off my artboard.
Oh, we don't want you feeling shame. That's no fun.
So keeping it all nice in the same color of white, helps give me the permission I'm looking for from Illustrator that I can go off my artboard.
You could even sometimes I just end up just like hiding my artboard too, which is another thing.
Oh yeah, that's
Just
true.
like, forget it all. I can't even stay within this little box.
Let's pretend like you don't exist, artboard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you. I sometimes find that, whenever you're starting a new project and somebody gives you absolutely zero constraints and they're just like, just do you, have fun. And then that's the worst because then you don't know where to start. I feel like the artboard at least gives me a place to start.
Yeah.
It gives me one constraint.
There you go.
All right. Oh, we've got other people that use the light mode. I've heard that, I hear a lot of, and I haven't noticed this in the chat yet, but I usually get a lot of what I'm going to categorize as ageist remarks about light mode, because apparently light mode is for old people, because it's from an Illustrator way back in the dark ages of Illustrator, I guess, is what it looked like when it was light mode, but whatever.
Yep. I feel it's so fascinating. People are very like emotionally attached to say light or dark.
They are, aren't they? And that's okay. I think that's the beautiful part of this process, is that this is your life. It's your style. You do what works for you. It's not causing harm to anybody. I will say light mode might be causing harm to myself because it's not great on my eyes. So maybe I should switch.
You're fine. And we love your glasses.
Yeah, great. I do have blue light blocking on my glasses, so maybe that's doing something. Who knows? Who knows anymore, Paul?
I don't.
Not me.
I know I don't.
Okay, so once you finish getting a mood board, vision board, whatever you want to call it, collage, collection of images, image dump. I love the word dump, so let's throw that one in there.
That's funny.
So once you get this ready to go and you're in a place where you feel like it's representing who you are, at least in some way, a culmination of your personality traits, your lifelong points of inspiration, that sort of thing. Ideally, if we had all the time in the world together, which we only have a few short moments together today, ideally you would be able to visualize and put images to every aspect of your personality. But we're all very complex people, so we don't have time to do that today. So right now, for the purpose of this live stream, I've just chosen 3 personality traits, a few lifelong points of inspiration, so that we can start getting a baseline beginner's layer of what makes Meg who she is, okay? So once you have it all together, the reason why you put it all together is so that we can see everything at once and we can start trying to make note of what exactly is happening here visually and what we're seeing. So now at this point, I just kind of like to go through and type out, she's so small. Look at that. Ooh, bigger. Oh, but you're looking at a computer screen. Let's just make this even bigger. Okay.
There we go.
337 point type is way too big. 250.
And
why
it's
not?
Nice
okay.
That it's nice that it doesn't matter, but yeah, to some point, to some degree, you're like, yeah, that is, why is it 230 or 200? You know what I'm saying? I ignore the resolution and the size of things in Illustrator, and then I realize I'm working so ridiculously large or small. I'm like, how did that happen?
Yeah, me too. Constantly. You know, our brains move really fast and we don't stop to think for a moment on these things because it doesn't really matter. Sure, maybe it does. I don't know. What matters in this world? I'm not sure anymore, Paul.
Yeah. I don't have an answer for you either. I don't know.
Okay, so we're just going to start making note of what we see here, and we don't see type, so I'm going to remove that. There's no type here except for the Adobe stock watermark, which I'm going to not count as part of this mood board. Okay, so I am noticing, and what we're going to do here is we're just going to type literal elements that we're noticing. Okay, so I'm noticing a lot of emotive faces. I'm noticing a lot of smiles. I'm noticing a lot of, let's see here. I'm seeing some black and white happening over and over again. So I'm gonna write that down. I'm seeing, you know, there's quite a few opportunities that have structure in here, like the stripes I'm seeing, those pencils that have structure. the structure of those bodies sort of overlapping over that cube. So I'm putting here because I'm seeing some structure happening, but I'm also seeing organic shapes in those trees, in Bozo the Clown's, whatever you call that special clown collar.
Yeah, that is
the carrots. Epic. There are some organic shapes happening in the carrots, in the hair. Okay, let's see here. I'm seeing, and I like to go for things that are reoccurring most in order to start with hierarchy, and then I get more specific. So I'm also seeing, let's see here. I'm seeing a lot of like, well, it's kind of along with emotive faces, but I'm going to write it down anyway. Expressive eyes. I'm seeing definitely orange is reoccurring. Red is absolutely reoccurring. There's a light blue. There's pink. There's green. Now my type's too big. Let's go down to 180. No. Too big. 72. Too small, but I don't care. All right. Where are we on colors? Yellow. I'm seeing yellow. Light blue. There's like a few different shades of blue happening throughout. So regular old blue.
Yeah.
And I put black and white already. Okay. And at this point, I like to, normally I show somebody else to see if they notice any themes, recurring themes that I didn't see. So I'd love to ask the chat if you see something that's reoccurring or that seems like a thread that's weaving through this mood board that I haven't made note of. I would love it if you'd point it out to me, because sometimes we can see things that other people can't. Okay.
Yeah.
Paul, do you see anything? You see anything I missed? Did I get it all?
I'm definitely, the thing that sticks out to me is the expressive part. So you have expressive eyes.
Okay.
Like almost like surprise, I think is another thing I see.
You know, another great thing to think about too, which you just called out, is emotions. Does looking at this make you feel a certain way? Are you getting certain emotions or feelings that are emerging from this? Is always a question I like to ask myself. So surprise is great.
Yeah, Marcel says comedy. Cody Bear says silly.
Silly. That's good.
Yeah. So just keep them coming. Definitely happy overall. I don't know about the snooty vegetables. They're like, hey.
Those carrots look really judgmental.
They're like, I don't know if they're striking a pose or they're trying to turn away from us, but it's pretty fun. Emotion, yeah, clever. That's a good one. Color, emotion. Yeah, big eyes.
Okay, this is good. Okay, I think we're all on the same page as to what we're seeing here. So I definitely, if you're working alongside, recommend showing yours to other people to ask them what they're seeing, because clearly I missed quite a few that you all pointed out for me. So that's really helpful. Ooh, we're seeing free and bold. I like that too. Okay. Great. Yes. Okay. So here we go. Once you have this list here, this is really all that matters at this point, because these are the important keywords that are necessary in order to start creating some hierarchy for what I can start including in my personal illustration style. So again, if I started to create an illustration style guidelines for myself that said, Meg, from now on, every time you illustrate anything, you must include all of these, that would make for very specific illustrations, which I like. It's much easier to make illustrations if I know exactly what to do and what to include. But I think having to create an illustration that both has smiles, but also stripes, structure and organic shapes and eyes, and it's funny and it's silly and it uses all those colors, I think that would be a lot. It's a lot to handle, and a lot that's too constraining for me trying to grow and change throughout my life. I don't want my personal style to necessarily include everything that I'm seeing here. So I'm going to start to create some hierarchy here. So even if I had something like, let's see here, Reverb Mike pointed out bananas. So that's like very specific, much like smiles is, where you know, I could, if I wanted bananas, if bananas were a huge part of my identity and I wanted them to be a part of my identity, then I could claim bananas as a sort of a must in my personal style guidelines. I must use them every time. But I don't necessarily want to be known as the banana person. I don't want to be known as the clown person. So I don't like to include stuff that's like so specific in my style guidelines, because then that just becomes part of your entire identity. And you just have to ask yourself while you're creating your style guidelines if you want these things to be a part of your identity or if you don't want them to be a part of your identity. Because at this point, in order to make some hierarchy, I create 2 columns, must and can. So this is just basically my personal style ... must include and can include. And then from here, I like to play and explore and just see how I'm feeling with putting things in different columns. So going in my must column, I'm just going to start grabbing from over here. And in the must column, again, I like to include things that are, you know, higher arching, more general and less specific, because while finding a niche is good with your illustration style, I think the niche is definitely here. The niche is me, right? I am the niche. I am the thing that is the through line that makes my work very specific, because whenever you mix all these things together, it is 100% going to create an illustration style that is very unique to me and no one else. So it's going to definitely look like I found my niche. But within that, we don't want to be too specific because it's going to hold me back too much. So in my must column for my personal illustration style guidelines, let's make this a little bit easier for the people that are just tuning in.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you.
Let's give some, here we go. I'm going to call this a dump.
Yeah.
Dump of stuff I'm seeing. Okay.
Cool. And then that, like, you obviously like have, well, actually you do have words, but obviously you have like stripes. So organic shapes. I'm just like looking at some of the more abstract terms, which I think are pretty cool to have.
Yeah. So whenever you're trying to create this hierarchy of what in the world do you need to include in your must column versus your can column, I think there are 2 categories of things that I would encourage go there no matter what. And the first one is things that you're seeing over and over and over again throughout your mood board. So if there's something that's reoccurring more than once, more than twice, then definitely put that in the must column, because it's something that's clearly more important if it's a through line that's recurring, right? So for me, in my must column, I think I was seeing stripes, black and white. Let's see what else. We've got expressive, emotion. Let's see. I'd say humor / silly. I'm seeing a lot. And then that color palette I think is actually pretty reoccurring. So sort of red, orange, yellow, blue. We already have black and white in there. Did I miss anything? Pink. There's pink a couple of times. Okay. What else? Let's see. What else do I want to give hierarchy that I'm seeing often? I would say boldness. That was a good one. Mm-hmm. Okay. So then on top of that, the other category that I think is really important that you include is any areas of tension that you see. So I talked a little bit about this yesterday of including your personality traits, especially if there's tension. Like maybe, I think the example I gave yesterday was you have really chaotic energy, but yet you're also a very organized person. Those areas of tension, those things that don't normally go together, is so crucial to include in your personal illustration style, because that's how you create an illustration style that truly nobody else is going to make, because you're combining things that people don't normally put together. So going through my list of things that people don't normally put together were just 2 things that I think maybe don't go together normally, or that might be challenging to try and put together in one style. I think the main thing that I'm seeing here is the structure and organic shapes, because that seems hard to try and figure out how to create an illustration style that includes structure, but also organic shapes. So I'm going to include that in the must column.
I like that.
Okay, so right now I'm just going to try and put everything else in my can column and see how that's feeling. So what I like to do with my personal style is the must column I look at every time I make anything. I say, does this thing I'm making, whether it's a headshot, whether it's an illustration, whether it's something like a design that doesn't use illustration, I like to make sure that it includes everything in my must column. And then if I'm looking for added inspiration or trying to figure out, I don't know what to do for this thing, then I look into my can column and I start to pull from there. So that's going to be where you put more specific things like bananas, right? Smiles, emotive faces. Let's see here. Did I put, yep, we got the colors. There's, I believe we've got other shades of blue. Surprise. Free. That's it. I think I got it all. I probably missed something somehow. Okay, so now we have 2 columns here. Ooh, let's go for...
I like how Monica says, can lazy be a personal style? Because I can be quite lazy.
Yes.
Can't we all?
Can't we all? But man. Yes, that's what a fun challenge, because if you think about what does laziness mean to me, I absolutely think you can find images for that and pop that in there, and I think that it would make an incredible personal style, especially if that's a cornerstone personality trait for you. 100%. Absolutely. What else? Anything else good going on in the chat?
Yeah, just reading about, Reverb Mike says you have comedy, but no laughter. Just an observation.
That's a really good point.
So, okay. But I think the contrasts are is what makes designs interesting. So I think, kind of pointing those out is obviously like going to be key.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay.
The black and white with the color, it's going to be good.
Absolutely. I think that's an area of tension too. I'm seeing black and white constantly throughout my mood board. So I definitely want to make sure that I include that because, like mimes and people that are in black and white comedies that have always been so influential to me. And I think whenever I break that down and think about why that was happening, it's because whenever you were in black and white, you had to utilize makeup a lot in order to show a lot of expression. And so people, I think back in the black and white days, had to show so much more emotion with their face and body because it wasn't as easy to see in full color. So that's, I think, why I've always been really attracted to that. So being able to unpack why you've been visually attracted to certain things is really important for translating it into a personal style.
Cool.
Okay.
I'm into it. Yeah, just give it some thought.
Heck yes. Yeah. Heck yes. So, okay, now that I've added some Comic Sans to my must and can column, I think that it's feeling really good to me now. One area that I will say that we didn't get time to get to yesterday, if you're looking for more visual information, because sometimes like you get this amount of visual information and you're still like, I don't know what to do from here. I don't know where to go at this point. And that's okay, because this is a very abstract process. Hopefully seeing me use myself as an example is a great place to start, but it is a horribly abstract process and it's very ambiguous. So if you're feeling lost and you need more visual information, I just want to kind of mention a couple of additional things that you can ask yourself that might help you to search for more types of images. So another thing that is very unique to you is your values. And I think whenever we ask ourselves what our values are, it seems to me personally kind of eye roll worthy because values, don't we all kind of value similar things? Yes, we do. If you're a quote unquote good person, you and I might share similar values, but maybe not. There are a lot of values there are so many values. If you go and Google list of values, you will see so many options. I didn't realize there were so many things to value until I saw one of those lists. So if you have the time to do a quick search for, all the options of values and you start to narrow it down. What I like to do is narrow it down to 5, the 5 things that I value the most, which actually is quite hard because if you look at a list of values, you might identify with the majority of them. So going down and whittling values away further and further and further until you get down to a list of 5, you can end up coming up with a unique list of values that are very specific to you that might not overlap with most people.
Yeah. I like that. I think that's a good exercise because you're right. Everybody has value. Of course, we all value freedom and security and loyalty and, kindness. But we obviously have a hierarchy of those values
exactly.
too, which
yes.
is good.
Absolutely. So whenever I went through my values list, I'm just going to put this in there so you can see, kind of compare yourself to me and see how it looks for somebody else. Is my values, whenever I whittled it down, I started with like 100 and then I kept narrowing it down more and more. Ended up with 5. My 5 top values were fun, empowerment, individuality, kindness, and open-mindedness. Open-mindedness.
Yeah, those are huge.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
make
these
your
are the
own
things.
list, everybody. Feel free.
Absolutely. So I recommend that you go and make your own list of what the values are. What are the 5 things that you value the most? And you can ask yourself what the things you've valued the most yourself your whole life. So when you were a kid and you looked at this list, what would be the overlapping values that you would have agreed upon when you were a kid that you do now? That's how I got to choose my 5 values, because especially this year, I have completely different priorities and values right now than I ever did before. Mm-hmm. It's a completely different story. And so if I want to make work that's reflective of where I am right now in this landscape, this social and cultural climate that we're all experiencing together, this is a great exercise for you to go through and think, wait, let's not think about past me. Let's not think about future me. What do I feel right now? And creating a new style for yourself and how you're feeling right now is such a fun exercise, and it's a great way to process what you're feeling. So I definitely encourage you to do that if you have a free day on your hands. But for this stream and for this exercise, we are thinking back to the past and trying to figure out what the through lines are about yourself and what you've valued your whole life.
Yeah. Into it. Just a question that we had in chat about the earlier identifying traits. You had 3. Is that the bare minimum? Do you only have 3? Do you have more? What's the general number recommended? And can
Absolutely.
You go outside of that?
Great question. I started with 3 because I think 3 gives you enough information to start with. Picking the 3 most defining parts of your personality is a great place to start. Generally, if we had more time, I would recommend maybe you do about 3 or 5 of them. And if we had more time, I would recommend that you find enough images that would make a full mood board for each of your personality traits so that you got a lot more visual information. So depending on how much time you want to spend on this activity, you can go through the quick and fast version, which is what I'm doing for you now, and start with 3 personality traits and just find maybe at least 3 images for each of those. But if you have more time and you really want to take this seriously and spend a lot of time on it, then I would recommend trying to work in as many of your personality traits as you possibly can. 3 should be the minimum, but we're all so complex and interesting that we all have so many personality traits. So you probably at least have 5, if not 10 or more personality traits that make you who you are. So the more that we can, bring ourselves into our personal style and start to visualize that, that's when we're going to start mixing more and more and more things that most people don't mix together. And that's really how you can create a style that's very unique to you.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
And again, there's no wrong answers. So
there are no wrong answers. Good. Yes. So, I don't have all the answers. I have all of the answers from my own personal style. But when you're working on it for yourself, it's hard for me to tell you exactly what to do. This is the best possible process that I found that works for the most amount of people. But if this doesn't feel right for you, you do not need to do things the way that I do it. Find a way that works great for you.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Yes. Okay. So the last thing that I want you to ask yourself, and this is another list making exercise, which I know is very boring to look at. I'm trying to add Comic Sans in here so that you have more excitement to look at. But the
right.
last thing I want you to ask yourself, and this is more information just about you to gather, is thinking about your creative skills. So when it comes to your creative thinking, your creative work, whatever medium that you work in, I just want you to ask yourself, what are the things that you are actually really good at? And you, depending on your self-esteem, you might be able to answer this very easily, or this might be the world's hardest question. And I will be honest, I was not able to answer this question at all. I could not see what my skill set was. I thought I was absolutely terrible at everything. Um, I had to ask other people. I had to ask other designers, other creative people that knew my work, that had seen my work before. I had to ask them what they thought I was good at, and they told me. And I will guarantee that anybody that knows your work or at least looks at your portfolio can also pick out what you're great at. And this personal style exercise is a great opportunity for you to finally celebrate those things rather than just feeling bad about all the things that you're not good at, which is usually what I think we spend a lot of time doing. So what I'm going to do now is just write out a very short list of the things that I am actually good at creatively with my work. So one of those things is expressive type. I'm very good at using other people's typefaces to show emotion. I've always been very good at that. I'm not great at hand lettering, but I am good at using other people's type and manipulating it and making it show a lot of emotion. So that is one thing I'm good at. I'm very good at using color, lots of bright color. I'm great at mixing colors and whatever, color combinations, you name it. I love color. I'm also, let's think here. I'm also really good at clean design that's personable. So even though I don't have a lot of stuff going on in the design work that I make, I'm very good at showing a lot of emotion and personality in the work that I make. So those are two things that are kind of going into one here that I'm great at. And I'm sure there are a lot of other skills that I have. There's definitely outside of my work that I like to blend into my work as much as possible. I have a huge skill set of other things I can offer. I'm really great at communicating in a positive way. I'm not afraid of, performing in front of audiences. There's lots of stuff that I'm great at that I can start to incorporate into my career. But for the purpose of this exercise, we are just going to focus on the skills that I have that are very specific to the medium that I work in and to the visual work that I make, because this exercise and this activity and this process is all about finding a personal illustration style for you. So write down a list of the skills that pertain to illustration or the work that you make in this regard for now. And then you can start weaving in all the rest of the skills you have at a later time. We're trying to make this tangible for you. Okay.
That sounds awesome. I think, no, I just went off camera because I was just letting you kind of do your thing. But Mia brings up a good question. She says she'd do this for the me I'd like to be, or not the actual me. And can you do that? Can you have creative skills, things you'd like to be good at? What are your thoughts there?
Absolutely. I don't want you to avoid this exercise because you don't like who you are currently. Who you are currently is perfect and great, and you have so much to utilize. And that's kind of the purpose of this exercise, is for you to finally be able to celebrate that. But I do also think that all of us have lots of growing and improving to do. And again, as long as you're not causing harm to other people or yourself, you do not need to change. But if there are some skills that you'd like to acquire, if there are things about your personality that you want to start incorporating, absolutely. If you learn new information and you change, yes, please incorporate that kind of stuff. The goal of, I think, the beginning stage of this exercise is to have the information to at least be able to translate who you are at the core of your being into visuals, which I think is a beautiful place to start. And once you have that foundational information started, then you can start to incorporate other things and grow and expand and change from there. So I definitely will say that I don't want you to necessarily get fixated on being somebody else and trying to become someone else, a better version of who you are, because I think you already have the makings. You already are perfect just the way that you are. And you can do so much with that. We all can. So let this be sort of an exercise of self-love for yourself, to celebrate who you are at your core. And I think for myself, at least, this was really an opportunity for me to do something that was very scary for me, which was finally stop conforming to what other people wanted me to be and start to be the person that I always have been inside, but I never let anybody see before. And this activity was just such a breath of fresh air, and in order to allow myself to tiptoe into that and tiptoe into, experimenting with being confident with what makes me who I am.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I think this creative, like you're saying, the creative skills, this is a chance for you to brag about yourself. So like, I think that list, couldn't the creative skills like be as long as you want it to be? And like you're saying, just don't be afraid to, talk yourself up because you got skills.
Totally. That's right.
That's good. And then actually Stone has a good question about, can you apply this exercise for establishing a brand style as well, say for a client?
Yes, I do exactly that whenever I work with clients. I try to figure out, there's a couple of ways that we can do this, because we all, if we're creatives that work on brands, I don't know if you've ever worked on a brand where, it's owned by an individual and it's like it's their business. They're the owner of the business. They don't employ anyone. And I think in those instances, this exact exercise is perfect as a brand exercise for them. If they put their heart and soul into their business and it's just them. I love this process for brands like that. But also, if you have a brand that's larger that employs so many people, a similar exercise can be put in place where you try to get at the core of what makes their company so amazing, because we've all when we have worked for companies, we know internally the feeling is very different at every company we work for. So trying to figure out and get to the gooey center of what makes a company so unique to itself, and hopefully it's a positive thing and not a negative thing, but sometimes it's negative. So trying to grab all those traits that make a company environment, whether it's their internal culture or their values, and try to put that to visuals and squish all those things that, the way that those values go together thematically with the business, try to put those to visuals and squish them all together. And then you can start to create a visual that looks unlike anything else.
Yeah.
That's actually how I developed this method in the first place. Was I was working on a brand design project, and my client, and mind you, I've never had a full-time job as a designer or a creative person, so I actually don't know how to design brands for clients. But I think that mood boards are a thing that you're supposed to do when you design brands. I still don't know, but I was doing them. And so I showed my client 3 mood boards before I started designing, and I said, here are 3 mood boards that are in 3 completely different directions. Pick one and I'll make you something that looks like that, because that's what I thought I was supposed to do. And of course, the client came back to me, and as they always do, and said, well, we like some elements from mood board number 1. We like this other thing from mood board number 2. And then on mood board number 3, we like this other element. And I looked at that feedback and was like, oh God, how do I put all those things together? People don't put those things together. And then I realized, oh, that's how you make something that looks like nothing has been made before. You put things together that most people don't put together. So this process is exactly that. You're putting all the parts of what makes you amazing visually together, and then you're going to undoubtedly make something that looks like no one else has ever made before. I promise you.
Yeah, and that's I'm like, oh, typical client. God bless them. There's nothing wrong. They're fine. But even when you pitch them a design, everybody, I think most people have been through that. You show them 3 designs and they want one combo of the 3, which is
exactly.
That's definitely not uncommon. Oh, we like pieces of this one, piece of that one, piece of that one. So
yes.
I think there's different opinions, and some people are very hard lined with like, no, it's either 1, 2, or 3. It shouldn't be treated like a buffet. But, at the end of the day, it's like, the client's paying. So if they want those 3 pieces, you give them. If they want all dessert in their design, they can have all dessert in their design. So whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I think somebody, I can't remember who, but somebody in the comments earlier said something about eating dessert first.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a perfect way to mix that into your visual style.
Yeah.
Only dessert.
Get the good stuff.
All
Everything
right.
else is just slowing you down.
That's right. I agree. So what I recommend you do at this point is, now that you've made more lists, oh my gosh, it's interesting because I'm not actually a list person. I don't love making lists, but it's really the only way to get through this process I found organized. So we must continue. So what I like to do at this point is go through my creative skills and try to work them into my personal style must or can column. So again, if you have a creative skill that's really specific, like you're just really good at making moons. I don't know. I'm just thinking of something. If you're like really good at making moons in Illustrator and you're just like really passionate about it, decide, do you want it to be in your must column? Do you want to absolutely have to incorporate moons every time you make anything? Maybe you do, but maybe
like
you
that.
don't.
I like being out, like sneaking in a moon in each design. Like, oh, there's one in there. It's like your signature
Just so
thing.
good at making moons. Okay. So here I ask myself, do I want to, no matter what I'm doing, whether it's illustration, whether it's design, whether it's dressing myself, whether it's decorating my home, do I want to include my skill of expressive type in everything? I actually don't. I don't want to have to, every time I dress myself, include expressive type in what I'm dressing myself as. I don't want to be known as that person. So I'm going to include that in my can column. I can include that if I want to. Color, the use of color, bright colors. Do I want to have to incorporate that in every single thing that I do? And this is a challenge for me, but the answer is actually yes, I do. Because for me, including black and white, but also color is something that I noticed all throughout my mood boards, and it's a huge part of who I am. So even whenever I'm decorating my home, dressing myself, all of that, I always try to incorporate pop of color. I dress in mostly black and white, but I include bright colors as often as possible. Usually through accessories like a shoe or a hat, an earring, that kind of thing. I like to make sure that that's in my must column, so that way I'm mixing both black and white with color as much as possible. Because I think that it shows multiple sides of who I am, which is good.
Yeah.
And then lastly, clean but personable design. Is that too specific? Is that going to hold me back? Or is it okay to include in my must column? I think it's okay to include in my must column. Clean but personable design. Okay, so then when we're looking at our values list, if you're wanting more visual information to include in your mood board, you can go through the exercise of thinking, okay, what does fun mean to me? And then start searching for those things and incorporating some of those images into your mood board and going down your values list. 100%, that's a bonus exercise for you. We're not going to do it today though. So if you need more visual information than what you already have in your mood board, I definitely recommend that you start pulling from that, but you 100% do not have to right now. Okay, so at this point, here we are at my personal style guidelines. We've got a must column. My personal style must include stripes, black and white. It must be expressive. It must showcase emotion, be silly and humorous and comical. It must include this very specific color palette. It must be bold. It must use structure and organic shapes. I don't know how I'm going to do that. We'll figure it out. It must use color, and it must be clean, but also showcase personality. And then my personal style can, if I want it to, if I need a little bit of extra juice to pull from, that's not a saying people use. It could include bananas or smiles or emotive faces. We've got some other shades of blue we saw in the mood boards. It could include that surprise feeling. You know, I love surprises. It could look and feel free. It could look and incorporate literal laughter, and it can use expressive type. Okay, so this is the general structure of the hierarchy that I'm creating for my personal style guidelines right now. And already I think you can probably get the feeling of like, oh, this makes a lot of sense based on what her work looks like, but also mixing all these things together undoubtedly is going to create a style that looks very unique and unlike anybody else's.
Meg, quick question.
Yeah.
So what do you do? So I think a lot of people here are, they're already kind of designing or they're doing the creative challenges, stuff like that. How do you ever reference your own work that you've already created in the past and look at it? Do you compare it to this list, or like, how does your current work fit into all this?
Definitely. I think that's a fun exercise to do, because whenever you look, once you get to the point where you've made this list, you'll start to realize that maybe you've been making a lot of these decisions all along and you didn't really realize why this had been naturally coming out of your brain this whole time. So I hope that this practice will give you a lot of validation as to why you've been making a lot of the decisions you have been making. But it also should be really energizing whenever you're making your work as you go on. What I like to do, just to make sure that I'm being true to myself whenever I am making anything, because honestly, we all get influenced by trends so often. I'm on Pinterest all the time, and the more I look at Pinterest, the more I start to find myself doing specific color palettes whenever I'm designing. Sometimes, like a good example for this is in my personal style guidelines is orange and pink. And if I go on Pinterest now and look at what Pinterest is showing me, I see a lot of designs where orange is on pink or vice versa. It's very trendy right now. And so I find myself accidentally mixing those two things together constantly while I'm working. But then I go back to my personal style guidelines and look at my must column and I say, wait a minute, I haven't incorporated black at all in this, or I haven't, nothing about this is funny or silly. So then I revise and I start to inject myself, not the trends, into my work. I start with that maybe orange and pink color palette, but then I start to add black and white. I start to add boldness or expressive type, that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden I look at it and it feels like me, which is such a great feeling. So it's a learning process. I don't want you to feel embarrassed about your past work because maybe you were designing to trends. All of this is helpful, practical information. Everywhere that you've been throughout your career as a creative person is really, you needed to go through that in order to get where you are. You need to study trends in order to practice different design styles and work within those styles so that you can learn what you like and don't like and what you're good at and not good at. So it's very much all a journey. But hopefully I'm able to save you some time on this journey and cut through the nonsense of what's happening with trends and try and figure out what you can make that's unique to you.
Yeah. And not getting lost, not losing yourself while being inspired on Pinterest or wherever else. Sure, go get inspired, have things influence you, but don't forget who you are.
Exactly. So. Yes. And I like to do that too, because sometimes I just feel bored with my personal style. That's natural because I've been working in it for so long. So sometimes I will go on Pinterest and find myself getting really, energized about that image of that cemetery and the way that the type was laid out on that gravestone or something like that. And then all of a sudden I'll feel like I see type in a new way that I hadn't seen it before. And so I get inspired by that thing I saw and I poke around in my Illustrator and I start making something. And then all of a sudden, once I comb through my must and can column, then I add more elements that feel like me. And all of a sudden I realize that I've made something that's a fresh take on my usual personal style. So I think constantly consuming more visual information is really helpful because it helps us to see the world through other people's eyes. It helps us expand our worldview, which is so important in evolution and growing and evolving and changing as a human. It's good. We don't want to silo ourselves only to our personal style and never look beyond it because we need to take in more information and learn in this world, right? So keep doing that, but also remember who you are and do that. Like we said yesterday, check in with yourself every few months to make sure that this is still who you are. You haven't grown and changed and evolved too far away from this. And you can go through this exercise as often as you need to throughout your life in order to make sure that it's always accurate and relevant to you.
That's awesome. And also want to welcome Brandy. Actually, was just going through your book, Full Time You, and it's stumbled upon you here, and we want to welcome you here, Brandy. Yay! And here's your chance again. Just ask any questions that you want as Meg goes through this. And by the way, this is day 2 of 2, so you can check out yesterday's below us. You're obviously on Behance, so should be right below us for future viewing. And just to remind everybody that we have about 30 minutes and then we'll do some of the challenge reviews through that.
Excellent. I just want to start poking around with design. I'm just going to copy that, move it over and clear this area because I want, this is an illustration live stream, so maybe I should do something. Maybe not. So I just want to start grabbing from my must and my can columns and start making something to see how this fits together. Because it's a little hard for me to be doing this and trying to pretend like it's my first time doing this, because I have done this exercise for myself in the past, which is how I got to the personal style I have now. But within that, I think there's some really interesting information, because I actually hadn't thought of what images I was going to grab for this mood board. So these are a lot of these images are images I would have never used before. So there is new visual information for me to take from, which I think is pretty fun. So within that, I'm just going to start trying to poke around and seeing what our color palette is looking like. So obviously we have black and white, no secret there. We've got our good old mime buddy over here. And then we have, I'm also noticing some, let's just copy those. Some red. So I'm just gonna eyedropper it and find the brightest red I can find in here. Let's go for the center of Bozo's nose, perhaps. There's Bozo. Bozo red. And then we've got, let's see, light blue, which I'm seeing pretty often. So I'm just gonna grab this blue from Keenan and Kel's background. Kind of a muted color. Not really loving how muted that is. I'm not feeling like a muted person, but whatever. You know, have you noticed that every time you take an eyedropper to something, it's like surprisingly more muted than you expect it to be? Story of my life.
Yeah, that's fascinating, because you are.
See, look at this orange. Look at this orange. It looks bright, but then it's like it's not. The eyes. Yeah. The eyes amaze me. The human eye.
That's pretty fancy. You
this is getting brighter.
You could always change the sample size of your.
Oh yeah.
Just FYI, you don't really need to, but you can change it to 3x3 or 5x5. You just double click on the eyedropper.
Ooh, baby.
That's how you change it.
Let's do that. You know. Let's do it live.
Where is it? Right at the very top. It says point sample. You can change it 3x3 or 5x5. So you can give it a larger spread if you want to.
I love this.
So
spread it wide, eyedropper.
Yeah, that might give you good general. But it's fascinating, though. You're right.
Isn't it? It looks so bright, and then it's like a mustard color. It blows my mind every time. It's okay. We'll work on that later. Okay, so we've got yellow, we've got orange, we've got red, we've got light blue, we've got some green in here. Great, great, great. Anybody else I miss? Pink, pink. Pink, how could I? How could I forget? Pink, let's go. Mauve, I suppose. This color palette is looking terrible at the moment, but we're gonna fix that. Okay, I think I got most of the basic colors that we're seeing recurring. This orange is sort of represented there. Okay, so now I'm just gonna make them less muted because I'm not a fan of muted colors. And I think in my must and can column, we're not seeing anything at all that represents dull or muted. We're seeing like color, bold, expression, bright. So we gotta amp these puppies up.
Amp them up.
Amp them up.
I like it.
That's fine. Bozo red is even too dull for me. Who knew? Okay, I'm just making these brighter.
Let me.
Bozo's a little too bright now. There we go. What are you doing? You troubleshooting?
Yeah.
You fixing all my problems for me?
No. I wish. Your problems? Oh. No, just joking. I'm just messing with you. Can I show you something kind of cool?
Please.
Just for fun?
Okay,
so it. Take all those circles and like duplicate them. Just like below where they are, to the side. Perfect.
Is that satisfactory?
Yep. That's great. Pretty good. Yeah. And still make sure you can see some of that image, because we're going to sample that image or all those images and apply them to the circles. So go up to, and I'm sorry, part of your screen's cut off, but go up to Edit and go down to Edit Colors and Recolor Artwork, which you might be familiar with. Okay, so we'll
look at that.
So anyway, so here you can recolor artwork, and you can, if you click Edit, the little Edit tab.
Got it.
Now you can start to sort of move those around and brighten them up and do all that fun stuff. You can either this just allows you to like manipulate all these colors at once if you want to, because if you hit the little lock button, in the lower, that kind of like in the center there, there's a little like chain link, right? Yeah, down to the right.
This one.
Yeah, there you go. That'll lock them all together. So if you tilt one, if you move, see how they kind of move? It's just, it's going to mess with your stuff, but
I love it.
you know,
Wow,
and
how
you know,
fun.
it's just, it's honestly, you're going for something very specific here, but it's good if you just want to play around with color and come up with
Excellent.
different
I do.
color groups. You can do that.
I love this.
And in the latest,
Where's my yellow? Where'd yellow go? What's happening? Where's yellow? Where is she?
I don't know. Where is it? It should be up in the corner there.
She's gone.
Yellow?
I got rid of her.
Yeah, let's get rid of her. Silly yellow.
Okay, good enough. I'm gonna call this good enough. Yeah, please.
That is pretty good. That's awesome. Let me show you something real fast too. This is just a fun bonus material. So watch my screen now, just for kicks.
Yes.
So here we are on my screen. I have all these colors. I only have one image, which is kind of lame, but I can go to edit colors. So that same spot, recolor artwork. And this is brand new, by the way, because right here I can use this color theme picker. So you can go ahead and take all the colors from a photo, right? And usually I'll draw a line, go, and then it maps those colors and changes the colors of my, there we go, move that down. But it's like changing the colors based on this photo. If I had more photos, that's what it would do. So anyways, just,
I love this.
You know, if you want, and you could still expand it out exactly like you were doing, you know, and tweak it all day long, like you were doing as well. Just but I also like doing these like color groups. This is going to really screw it up. But again, you can just jump in and kind of recolor stuff. So yeah, yada, yada, yada. You get the idea.
Thank you. This was great.
So the big
great
thing
interlude.
is, yeah, the big thing is just resampling. Let me tell you exactly what it's called. The new color theme picker. So mapping your artwork to a photo. So that's all.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's fun.
That will save everyone.
This is fun.
So much time.
I know you, and I know you like color, so I'm sure you know. Maybe
I
like
do love color. This is going to be very beneficial for me. Thank you.
Sweet.
Okay. I feel great. This is good enough for now. So we have my little color palette here, which is probably, if you've ever looked at my work, you're not going to be surprised by that color palette. That's just how she goes. So let's start mixing some. I'm just going to play around and try to mix some of these elements together, and we'll see what happens. So we've got some stripes. Let's see, we have black and white stripes going on. Boink. My designing always comes with sound effects, so you're welcome. And then we've got, let's see, how do we mix structure with organic shapes? So I'm trying to see what kind of structure we have going on here. These pencils are very structured. Mr. Bean's shoulders are quite structured. And then we have here some rectangles going on. Okay, so I'm gonna just start with triangles. Make a 3-sided polygon. That looks great. And right now, this is just gonna be a collage of elements. So I'm gonna make this triangle green. Love a good old green triangle. Who doesn't? Unless that means something offensive. I don't know. I don't know what a green triangle means.
I think
Did I accidentally do an oops?
Yeah, I think you're all right.
We don't know.
You just made a tree. It's just a tree.
Okay. Okay, and then let's see here. So we've got our little pencil-y triangle shape. Love it. Organic shapes. What kind of organic shapes are we seeing? We're seeing some like wiggly shapes in our carrot. We're seeing, I'm really enjoying this shape of, let me just make Bozo nice and pixelated. Oops, nice and pixelated so that we can see this sort of inspiring structure here of Bozo's fancy collar, which is sort of like a wavy shape, which is now white. There we go. Just gonna complete this shape. Just getting some random stuff here, making random things happen. Let's see, we've got some faces, we've got eyes happening, structure, organic form. That's looking gross. I'm going to, I'll do a clipping mask in a little bit. We've got some eyes. Maybe we'll add some eyes, some little peepers. Let's make the stroke thicker for more contrast. There we go. Well, I'll make one eye and then we'll make a second eye. Which direction should the eye be looking? Up, down, left, right, side to side, crossed, center.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, that works.
Oh, very alert, which is good because surprise was on my list. Things are coming together. So I think that the important thing here, which is in my must column, is that we're making sure that we're using both black and white and color. I think naturally, thank God for these eyes, because the humor and the silliness is coming across. We've got color already. It's very clean, but personable. Now let's add some expressive type. Oh, it's defaulting to Comic Sans already, which is perfect.
Your go-to. No.
This is just gonna say bananas.
Bananas.
Bananas. And should I add that as a color? I don't know. I'm not sure if I like that as much as I do when it's black. Let's see. What other kind of shapes can I work with that's in here? We got sort of I'm loving the shape here of Keenan's mouth. So I'm going to really use this as sort of a defining guideline.
Go for it.
Why not?
I want to answer Richard's question. So you can save all of your colors in your swatches panel, your gradients as well. Just so you know, color groups are just going to have solid colors. So I just encourage everybody to like save all their colors, and then you can save the file as a template and then just open up that same template file and it'll have all your colors squared away for you. I like that mouth shape. That's fun.
Pretty great. We could make it the mouth for this abstractly. That's fine. Let's make it a color. Doodly doo da dee da doo da da. There we go.
Everybody
Bananas.
likes bananas. I like how you say it that way, like bananas. Or whatever. It's like,
you know what's really fun?
You can't say it a normal way, not with that font, with the exclamation point.
Bananas.
Bananas.
I just keep making it bigger. So I think the important thing to note, and I want this to be a major takeaway for everyone who's watching, is that this is one of the crucial lessons I learned early on in my career whenever I started working in shared workspaces or co-working spaces with other designers and creatives that were way more advanced in their skill set than I was, is I would constantly peek over their shoulder while they were working. And because I was very intimidated by them and I assumed they knew a lot more than I did, because they definitely did. But I would look over their shoulder while they were working and think, oh, wow, that looks like crap. when they're working out their ideas and in the beginning stages of something new, what they're doing also looks really bad. And it made me feel better knowing that everyone makes things that don't look polished yet when they're figuring it out. So no matter what I'm making, everything always generally looks pretty bad for a really long time. And it's incrementally starts to get better and better and better as I go. And that's part of the process. That's just kind of how it works. You work things out as you go and it gets better and better and better. So if you are frustrated with the fact that your canvas or your artboard isn't necessarily looking amazing and perfect right away, don't worry about it. It takes time. This is not ready. This is not ready for the world to see. This is in progress. I'm just playing around, not hoping to have an outcome necessarily, but I'm loving how the colors and the elements are starting to look together. And I know if I just spent more time on it, it would look amazing. So you know what? I think we need to move to the face paint portion now because we're running out of time and I wanted to paint on my face.
Yeah. And just keep in mind, so yeah, that'd be good. I don't know how much time it's going to take, but we have about 45 minutes left.
Oh, well, that's too much time.
We'll have,
okay,
so
I'll play.
you kind of have about, 20, 30 minutes. We'll save like 20 minutes for 15, 20 for the challenge reviews. Give you guys more time to work on the challenges since we just gave that prompt to you an hour and a half ago. So yeah, you can continue doing,
Great.
you do whatever you want. I would love to see you in face paint whenever you want to do it.
So
I do.
Yeah. Go ahead, Paul.
Oh, shoot. No, I do want to. I do want to make sure I get questions answered. It's in chat and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we can do that for sure.
But give me a second.
Please, you can have all the seconds you need.
'Cause-
I'm gonna keep making bananas bigger.
Yeah, just have some fun.
Make it bigger.
There you go. Because somebody does ask if you, how do you, is there a way to kind of match your font to your mood board? Like, how do you do that?
Ooh, I love that. That is definitely possible. And I think it's a lot of asking yourself how you can fill out your composition and your design, making sure that all of your personality is represented, and then using any gaps that you have to use type to represent that type of personality you have that you've missed out on. So what does that mean exactly? What I'm saying is, so if you've created a composition for yourself and you're like, okay, am I equally representing, or at least representing in any manner, all parts of my personality? Like, have I incorporated the fact that I'm weird in this design? Yeah, I think I have. Have I incorporated the fact that I don't take things very seriously? Yes, I think I have. Am I incorporating change? I think so, between the contrast and everything. But if I was going to go out to different personality traits, maybe that I haven't included in my mood boards yet, or I'm searching my soul, trying to figure out what part of me haven't I represented yet in this work, then I can start to go through my personality and try and see if there's one aspect of me that I'm not yet representing, and then I can represent that with type. So, for example, let's say maybe did I incorporate, let's see, what personality trait do I have that I haven't incorporated yet? The fact that I'm very introspective. I am a very introspective person, so I want to make sure that I incorporate that in this design for sure. So let's try and figure out how to incorporate that. Let's get the character up here. Doodly doo 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 doo, which means that I'm going to have to remove Comic Sans, and that makes me really sad. But that's okay. So in order to communicate my introspection, I'm going to change it to a sort of a seraphy situation that seems like a little bit more serious. I'm just going to go for tiempos. Tiempos. Which, you know what? It looks a little bit more introspective, but yet it still says bananas. And that's all that matters to me. So I think that kind of creates that contrast again. I think, honestly, bananas and Comic Sans looked just as fun and playful as everything else in this piece does. So if we add a serif type in here, it adds a little bit of complexity, and I am a complex person, so it adds a little bit of that complexity into the design, which I think is good to help it well round the canvas of what I'm creating to showcase all of my personality.
Into it. Can I show something on that note real fast
Please.
as well? So here I am, like fonts.adobe.com, and you just mentioned like sans serif and a lot of these, and maybe you might not even know what these mean. These might not mean anything to you, because you're just like, I want a fun font. Well, we have tags in Adobe Fonts. So let's scroll down these tags, and here we have, we can have fun. Pick all the fun fonts, serve those up to me. Oh, you might be funky, right? This is just a much easier list to read from if you're not familiar with, what the different other font classifications are.
I like that too, because these are kind of listed as personality traits. So if you were trying to bring in a specific aspect of your personality, this is, or your values, because fun was one of my values, you can start to look for those keywords that way.
Yeah, and look at how great these are. Like, and then, this one's, this Synthemesque is awesome. Ooh. Like, how fun is this font?
That is really fun.
Like, that I don't know, it kind of has a banana-y curviness to it.
Does.
Maybe that's
it really encapsulates the essence of bananas.
I love it. Let's switch it back to you. Bananas. That's funny. Sounds a little bit like Will Ferrell's Harry Carey impression.
Oh, yeah. You're not wrong.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Adobe Live. All right.
Wow. Okay. So moving on to I say we, nobody asked for this. I wanted to incorporate a more nonsensical element because yesterday, whenever we finished our work, a lot of this work is just boring. It's list making, it's gathering images and popping them together. And I don't think it's that fun. And I think a big part of my personality is mixing in fun and play and just nonsensical stuff. So I wanted to try and figure out how I could make this a little bit sillier and more fun and just more interesting to watch, honestly. I think watching Meg Lewis make lists in Myriad and Comic Sans is really not the most fun thing to watch. So I thought what I would like to do is maybe translate what I made on my artboard here onto my face because I own some face paint and I don't own much face paint. I have these colors.
Uh-oh.
This is all I have. But we can make this work because they're all the colors, luckily, thank goodness, that are in my color palette. So, except I don't have pink, so I'm gonna have to change this blob here, inspired by Bozo's collar. I'm gonna have to change that to something else. So we've got yellow, green. I could do red. Let's do blue, maybe? Red? I like blue. I don't exactly have light blue, but I have a blue, so that's great.
Yeah.
Let's just see what happens.
Things are gonna get weird here.
And I think the thing to note is that I'm not a face painter. I have never really painted my face before. I bought these to try and learn how to do clown makeup on myself and realized I was really not good at it and didn't know what I was doing. So this won't go well, I will tell you that. But we're not looking for going well. We're looking for going. We're looking for it to just happen and give you something to watch. So let's do it. Yeah. I'm going to translate this very specific Illustrator artboard onto my face. And let's see what happens.
Into it.
So you all remember what you saw. There was a sort of a blob at the bottom, and then there were some eyes and a triangle, some stripes, and a sort of a half circle with a hard edge inspired by Keenan's smile. All right, so let's see what we're dealing with here. And now I can't see. Oh, you've turned yourself into my artboard. That's nice.
Yeah, does this work? So you can see
now I can't see your facial expression,
no,
which is probably for the best.
Yeah.
It would distract me. Also, I don't have my glasses on anymore, so I can't see. Okay, so I'm going to have to do it backwards, which makes this even harder because my camera is flipped, which I really like. It's going to make it more hard. Is this coming out? Can I see? Oh, yeah, it's working, right? Oh, wait, this way.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, we're going to have to go over my mouth.
This is good. Somebody mentioned in chat, they're like, oh, you just made it easy. Like, you made it me not afraid to design, basically, the way you were working in Illustrator. And now you're making it easy for people to not be afraid to, like, paint your face. So it's like freedom.
Right. Yes, I'm hoping that these sort of will come off, but we don't know. And please also know that I'm not wearing my glasses and I really can't see myself in my computer screen. And because of my webcam, I'm mirrored. So I have no idea what's going on.
Well, no, you're doing great.
I'm doing great. The yellow is hard to see, but I think I nailed it. I'm just going to quickly fill in the blue areas, which are on this side. Oh, this is the world's hardest task. Okay. This is going well.
Yeah?
This is going really well, Paul.
It's a nice blue beard.
I am surprised I'm sort of going in the... Oh, I just went out. It's okay. And then there's sort of like here.
Work it.
Sort of here.
Work it.
Here.
Great.
Good enough. And then we've got a triangle. Now that is on, let's put it over here. Yes. So I think a lot of what your personal style is about is showcasing who you are across all areas of what you do. So what I'm constantly asking myself is how can I create things for the internet, for the world? What services can I provide? What kind of experiences can I provide for the I love how that's the same color as a green screen.
I'm gonna
So
turn. I'll turn it off. So this is what it looks like. There we go.
oh no.
Now you can
Great.
see the green.
Oh, it's not a triangle anymore.
Oop.
Ooh. And now for the pièce de résistance, the eyes, which are on this side of my face. Yes. Okay. Oh, I'm terrified.
You should be. No, just joking. It's good.
Is that in the center? Oh, oh. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so it is getting. This is what the breakdown looks like. It's getting very meta.
It is. Oh no, my eye. Ah.
Oh wow! Look out! Be careful. Yeah, you are like maybe I should have checked to see if this stuff washes off. No, just joking.
This is going really well. Oh, those eyes. Okay. Now I'm going to add like a nice stripe element to my forehead because I think that will go over the best.
Yeah, so if you are just joining us, this is all about finding your personal style with Meg Lewis, who's started with a list, came up with designs, and now is bringing it back to it's getting really personal at this point, basically, with artwork on her face.
Yeah,
Saying,
I can.
"Hey,
I see everyone in the chat saying Imagine's tuning in right now, and I can't only.
They're like, yeah, they're.
And if you're wondering, if you're just tuning in and you're wondering why I'm so bad at this, it's because my camera is inverted. And also the screen where I can see myself on Zoom right now is this tiny.
Oh,
and
no.
I also am not wearing my glasses. So this is why it looks so bad. But that's part of the joy is that, oh, I forgot bananas. Okay.
Bananas. Oh, you're going
I
to
have
write
to
that
somehow
in.
write bananas backwards though, because I'm mirrored, which is amazing. So I'm just going to start here. Oh, you're not going to be able to tell what this is. Should just draw a banana.
Yeah. Do you want me to flip the camera?
No, don't.
Okay. I don't know if I can anyway. I don't think I can.
I'm on the blue now, aren't I?
Right. Yep.
Bananas. This is great.
That is great.
I got it.
You did it.
So if you're
great.
just tuning in, I have defined my personal illustration style and then I've found a way to put it on my face. Oh, now I can see. This is beautiful. My finest work yet. This is actually, it's gone better than the last time I tried this. So that's a fact.
That is good. I think it looks great. I want to actually see you like even larger, but hopefully everybody's doing screenshots right now and people think it's turning out to be so funny and cute. So that's so nice.
Well, that's good. Thank you. You're all
loves
too
the
kind.
eyes on the eyes, the banana beard. We need to
my
face
banana
our
beard.
fears. I like that
That's
reverb,
right.
Mike. I like that a lot. Let me just
Yes.
put it back in here.
So what I mentioned this earlier, but what I'm constantly trying to do, it's very hard for me to just speak to you now. Constantly trying to do with the themes in my work and the stuff that I offer for the world and the things that I'm making is I try to incorporate as much of my interests and who I am and my personality and this style guide into the actual what I'm making. So what are the things, what are the services I'm providing for others? What are the projects I'm making that I put out into the world? What are all of the things that I can actually physically make and do and give to the world that's unique to me? And a lot of that is right here in this style guidelines. It's all in my personality. It's trying to incorporate clowns and mimes and just being weird and silly and nonsensical and helping to make the world feel happier and silly and lighter, and utilizing the fact that I love taking things not very seriously. It's part of my personality. I'm weird, and trying to push that forward as much as possible. My primary goal in this world is to just be myself as loudly as possible, so that hopefully I encourage other people to do the same for them and realize that it's okay when you do this crap in front of people and the world doesn't fall apart. I hope. I don't know yet.
Yeah, that's good. Like you do something that you think is so out of the box and it's gonna be so crazy, and then everybody's like, "Oh, that's cool." Like they're not shunning you. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm getting. Like people aren't gonna shun you because you put makeup on your face, and now you're all of a sudden you're a beauty influencer right now. By the way, did you know that?
Thank you. If you're wondering what my palette is, it's caution. May cause irritation. Oh, never mind. There's no brand name here. It is some clown face paint for children, and it may cause irritation, so I'll keep you all updated.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. So everybody, let's go try it. Let's all go out and try that today, huh? And then walk around like, what? There's face paint on my face? No big deal. Get over it.
No one sees me anymore. So if this was stuck on my face for 2 weeks, it wouldn't make any difference.
Yeah. I like it. You could have started with that's an interesting idea, Mike. Just start with face painting. Do the reverse of what you just did. Wouldn't be interesting.
Again, I mean, we all need those moments where we're just playing and we don't worry about what the outcome looks like. If I worried about this outcome, I would be very disappointed right now. But I had no goals.
Mm-hmm. Into it. And again, you're making design and I guess art and everything like approachable. You know? Yes.
I'm pretty sure everyone on the street would want to approach me. So I'm glad that you used the word approachable.
Yeah. They're like, hey, if Meg's willing to paint her face on a live stream, I think you can go ahead and try to make a logo or try the daily creative challenge. You know?
Yeah, I think so. The stakes are very low.
The stakes are very low. Geez, now we still have like 25 minutes, by the way.
We can keep going. I could talk about this for days.
You're good. I just didn't know. And this is interesting. So you don't feel self-conscious at all, like with that face paint on, or how do you feel?
No, I'm mostly just really concerned about anyone who's tuning in right now. Yeah. Because I wonder, do these look like they might be tattoos? Do I look really intimidating?
Yeah, some people were saying like Post Malone vibes and stuff like that. So
yeah, definitely. I could see that.
So it's a grease paint, right? Don't you have like obviously grease based? Is it really face paint though, or is it just like okay?
It's face paint.
Gotcha.
Yes,
okay.
It is. It's face paint. I got it at a Halloween supply store.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
So it's okay.
Awesome. So again, Meg's willing to do this for you, for your entertainment, everyone.
This is true.
Because she loves you and wants you to be fearless and don't be afraid to be yourself. Basically, I
do. Yes,
which is awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
and the stuff you can all control, which I think is really important this year, because we are out of control of so much. And just going through this exercise and trying to figure out how you can make an illustration or creative style at all for yourself is something that you have the control over right now. And I think this time in our lives is really helpful to create a foundation for yourself that gives you the information you need. So that way, once the world opens back up and you have an unlimited amount of possibility for what you can do and be in this world, then you can really soar high and fast. That's what I'm trying to focus on now, is just creating a lot of foundations, getting things built in place. So that way, once things open back up, I can really just hurl at the sun as fast as possible and nothing will hold me back. But it's hard to be productive right now. And I think that this is a little tiny exercise that you can go through that will make you feel amazing because, again, most people go their whole lives without figuring out any of this stuff for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like to think that like you are defining yourself, like who you are as a person. And I think if you don't do that, other people like will. Other people will put you in a box or whatever. But basically you're being more, what's the word I'm looking for? More proactive, basically saying, hey, this is who I am. Here's my design style, for instance, rather than others, defining it for you,
That's a really great point because I think this helps you control the narrative of who you are in other people's eyes. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired. I think everybody is tired of other people telling them who they should be or what they should be like. And if you can just identify all of this information and make all these lists for yourself, then you can identify this key crucial info about yourself. And then when you're creating your portfolio site or communicating who you are or what your work is like, you can control the narrative in other people's minds of how they think of you because you're injecting this information into them before they can make up the answers for themselves and prescribe you with labels or all this information just based on judgments they're making about you. So what I like to do, if we're going to take this one step further, is I like to comb through all of this stuff and start creating a list of keywords, whether it's words I'm seeing reoccurring or just important words that I'm noticing because the hierarchy is here in my must column, is I start to create a list of keywords of like maybe boldness, expression, expressive type, color, like making keywords of silly, bold, and then, let's see, what else do I see here? Fun, empowerment, that kind of stuff, making a list of what those keywords are, and then start to inject those keywords throughout my portfolio. So every time I'm writing about a project, I inject these keywords as much as possible. Whenever I'm making a bio about myself, I do it Mad Lib style, where I have a list of keywords I want to mention in my bio when explaining what I do. And then I just string the keywords together into sentences. It makes writing a lot easier, but it also helps, again, to control the narrative in other people's minds. So that way you're injecting the same keywords over and over again. So as they're flipping through your work, looking at each project, they're reading those keywords again and again. And subconsciously, it's getting bonked into their head and they're going to think of you now as being those keywords. So you're controlling the narrative in other people's minds. And I think that's a really helpful thing because a lot of times as creatives, we don't love the writing aspect. So if you can just start with the keywords and then string the keywords together into sentences, it makes writing a lot easier.
Yeah, into it. I like it, really helpful. And so I'm going to segue us into the Daily Creative Challenge because it's actually perfect for exactly like what you're doing. I think this is going to be a lot of fun, Meg.
Great.
So let's do this. We're going to have so much fun. So just real fast, I will share my screen. As you can see right here, which it is just us, but I'm showing you right over here. It's this challenge tab right here. And this is where you're gonna make an album cover using the style transfer neural filter. So I can show you how to do that, but I also wanna review the many designs that are available in there as well. So you get a starter file, but honestly, like take any photo. Like I encourage you to like Meg did, she's literally doing a style transfer of her design onto her face, which is actually what you can do. So Meg, I just thought I'd do this because it would be fun. Like here you are, by the way. So we'll do the same kind of something similar as in, take a photo, go to filter down to neural filters. And this is the easiest thing. No cleanup involved, but style transfer. So it's like putting paint on your face roughly. These are all the styles that you can go ahead and apply. I like the tattoo one, by the way, so I'll click on that. That just turns out like really cool. But again, like, knowing you, and I could try to find something that kind of maybe matches the color palettes that you were picking.
Whoa.
In this case, or whatever the case may be. The cool thing is you could stack this stuff. So you could throw one on here that's going to give you like a lot of detail, and then throw another one on as well. So we could do that one, click OK, maybe duplicate that layer, and I would just try to blend a couple of these together is all, just for fun is what I would do. But anyways, so I'm just having fun with your face. Is that okay? You already had fun with your face. And
I am. We're all having fun with my face today.
We're all having fun with your face. I mean, look at how cool that is.
That's really cool.
So it's kind of aware of the shapes of the the face. Ooh, here's one right here. So this is exactly, is that Meg? Is that you?
Oh, yeah.
So anyways, like have fun with that. And let's see what everybody did actually.
Yeah,
now you know how to do it. It's so easy. I bought you some time. I'd blend those two together somehow. I'd do some more stuff, but nonetheless. Let's jump into where you'd submit this, because right down here, join Discord right there. I'm going to open up Discord, which is right here, and we can see the different style transfers. So we'll go to... we'll go to the current challenge. So this is where you'll upload the design. So it is an album. Hugh did Paul and the Trannies. Okay. He's having fun with my name. That's cool. Live at the Behance. And again, you can see style transfer there. So yeah.
Paul, have you ever been in a band?
I have not. I think it would be cool to be in a band. You?
Just marching band.
Oh, hey, that counts. The OG band where everybody starts. Look at this. Look at these brush strokes. We could talk about that too, because you could apply, this almost looks like the oil paint filter. But that is so cute. So again, we're just kind of giving you guys a shout out, and we appreciate what you guys are doing in here. This one just came through from Ted, Paul Simon. This is fun to do, like split that design, one style transfer and then the original, which is really cool. All right. Here's another style transfer. Again, we're just having fun here. The hooligans. That's a full-on composite as well.
Yeah, dang.
Nice. Good job, Hi Johnny. Cool. Ooh, was it Ted took a young version of Paul Simon and then applied the style transfer to it. So that's all. And then here's that composite from Johnny.
Wow, that is amazing.
Versions. That's pretty cool, huh? I thank you so much for submitting these, like especially these process images showing everything that went involved. And I think anytime you apply a style transfer or a color lookup or some sort of color mode, it's going to tie your composite together. It's going to make it look more consistent. So good call there. Cool. What do you think, Meg? What do you think of this one?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, spacey.
I want to know so much more about the process behind how to make this.
I know. And good call on just like picking the right images and the colors tying in, because it's just like cool, this like dream kind of coming up from there. So very nice. Everybody seems to love that one, and we do too. Cool. Here's another one. Yeah, I love this one. This is the
some fun type action there.
Yeah, exactly. That's some type, all right. But yeah, I think you'll start to recognize this is the tattoo style transfer filter, which is probably is my favorite. You start to recognize them after a while.
Mm-hmm. Shaggy.
Right? Shaggy. This, I swear, is oil paint. So let me show you real fast.
Amazing.
That's really cool. I want to show you how to do this. So I could literally take this one, go to filter, go down to where's my brain? Oil paint. So filter, stylize, oil paint. So you can apply that to a style transfer. And this is where you start to get those brush strokes, right? So we can make those shorter brush strokes. We should be able to, and again, I'm just blending a couple of these together, but see how it's kind of wrapping around your glasses and everything. Let's make it look a little bit more messy. You get the idea. Okay.
Amazing.
Anyways, it's fun to work with and easy, right?
So easy.
I think for the most part. All right, and there's Jesus's as well. That's the image he gives you.
Bananas.
Bananas. Is that how? Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, I just like how you say it. That's all. Well, cool. Oh, wait, what is this? Banana Crew?
Oh, hello.
Oh, we are themed. Just a common thread running through all these.
Wow.
Into it, which is really cool. So yeah, good job, everybody. Keep them coming. I would love to see more. Majesty's the last one we'll finish with. The Scream. Great photo, definitely an album cover. So yeah, good job. Have fun. So yeah, that is what we have, which is pretty awesome. And that's all I got for you.
What's going on in those folders?
I was gonna just try to show you guys something else, but it looks like I don't have it on hand. But I was gonna show you a different version. Okay, some more later. All right, I'm switching back to you, Meg.
Okay.
And
thanks, Paul.
Yeah,
we got a news anchor situation going here.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul. I'm over here in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Oh yeah.
Things are looking up here. We've got blue skies and no leaves left. I don't know how to do the anchor voice, otherwise it would.
They're all on the ground. All the leaves are on the ground.
They are gone. I've scooped them all up and put them in bags, and now they got taken to a nice farm where leaves go.
Oh, a farm or like a leaf graveyard? Somewhere?
Yeah. I don't know what happens to leaves. I think they maybe got mulched. Who knows?
Let me show you one more thing. I know then I'm done. But here's showing a bunch of styles. Style transfer applied to different parts of her face. So again, I don't know. I just thought that was kind of cool.
It is.
I guess I'm done bragging.
Amazing. So it's like different areas are masked out.
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
that.
So like here's the masked area. That's what it looks like. So anyways, but this kind of shows like I was trying to show the different styles that you could apply to images and what you'd get. So that's all.
That's great. I think these are such a great opportunity for you to just kind of play around with something and not necessarily have a specific outcome or goal in mind, to just kind of have some fun and see what you can do.
Yeah.
I think, we need to, I need to do that more often. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, even if you don't sometimes you know how you try something for a project and it just doesn't go anywhere and it ends up in a certain folder. Chances are, like, even what you learn in a daily creative challenge will come back around. You'll be like, oh, I remember that one time I did that. Now I'm going to use it in this thing. So I don't think any information or what you learn is ever really lost, even if you're not using it at that specific time.
Very true. And I think it's just kind of a good brain space to put yourself in intentionally every so often, to be comfortable not knowing what the outcome is going to be and to just not worry about that. We need, I think humans in general, myself included, need to be more comfortable with just like having a good time and not worrying so much about everything looking perfect all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I think you definitely weren't afraid to, just dive in with both feet. Yeah, those things at the end of your legs, by the way. That's
right. These two. Whoa, what are those?
Whoa, hello. Those are like hands.
They're like hands.
Weird shaped hands on the lower half of my body. So, anyways, let us know if you have questions, everyone. We have Meg for another. We're kind of winding down to the last 8 or so minutes. So feel free to.
Yes. It looks like, hi, Victor. Victor's here and just joining us. And let me just explain where we've been, where we've come, who we are now, and how we've changed over the last 2 days. So what we've been doing together, if you're just tuning in and you're wondering what's happening to my face, you're wondering what all this text is on my screen, we are working to define an illustration style made just for you. And I'm using myself as an example. I started by putting visuals to the most unique parts of my personality, which I will show you are over here. So this is me. This is who I am. This is what's influenced me and made me who I am today. This is all the stuff that makes my personality Meg Lewis. So I've put visuals to all of these personality traits and lifelong points of inspiration. And then going over to this text, we simply just wrote a list of everything we saw visually and thematically and emotionally in that collection of images. Let me zoom out here. And then we started to create some hierarchy there to create a personal style guideline for my illustration style. So here is the must column that I made for this personal illustration column. This is no matter what I make in my life and in my work, it has to include these things in order to showcase what makes me me. And then if I just need a little bit of extra zhuzh in my work, I can pull from this can column, which are other things that make me who I am, but it's just a little bit more prescriptive or maybe too specific, and I don't want to include it in that must column or else it might just be too constraining. And then down here, we have some more creative exercises of just thinking through what your values are and maybe what those creative skills are, what those actual visual skills you have to offer the world within your medium are, to make sure that you're incorporating those too in your personal style. And then the last thing I did was I just had a few moments to play around and start to look at my mood boards and try to translate those visuals into some kind of a style. Didn't spend too much time on it, but I tried to make sure that I was incorporating all those things about my personality that make me who I am, along with my must column for my personal style guidelines over here. And then the last thing I did, which is may or may not have gone successfully, is I tried to translate my canvas and my Illustrator artboard here onto my face with face paint. And as you can see, we've got the triangle, which is now a green screen. We've got a blue blob. We've got eyes. We have that shade, that yellow shape there. And then we have some stripes on my forehead. And then we have bananas. I did it. I think it went well.
You did it.
I'm going to let it just sort of come off my face naturally over the course of months. And Nadia, I'm going to make sure I don't touch my face in the meantime.
That's hilarious. I love it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. Thank you for supporting me no matter what, which is really very kind of you.
Oh, yeah. Did you talk about the color palettes at the top there? Or?
So these color palettes are me sampling from this actual mood board that I created here, of just kind of taking the samples of the colors I'm seeing recurring or thematically throughout these images. And then I kind of just looked back to my list of traits and personality and made sure to amp up those colors so they were extra bright, because that's part of who I am. I'm bold and I'm bright and I'm colorful, and I like to communicate comedy and silliness and positivity. So that's why we amped up the colors a little bit more. But if you are one who struggles with colors, this is a great part of the process to go through, because this will kind of help shed some light on where you need to go with your color palette. But honestly, one of my favorite parts of this exercise for me that's made it so impactful was throughout my whole life, I used to see things on other people or things, design styles that other people would work in, whether it was something somebody was wearing or just a personal illustration style that someone else had. I would look at them and say, wow, I wish I could wear that, or I wish I could hand letter that way. And so, of course, as we normally do, we saw the brown pants on that person and we're like, I love your pants. Where'd you get them? And they're like, oh, these brown pants, I got them at whatever store. So then I would go and I'd buy the brown pants and I'd put them on and I'd feel awful. I'd feel awful in the brown pants. They didn't look like me. They didn't feel right to me. Everything was just off, but I couldn't articulate why. Now I know why. Brown pants never worked with me, because where in my personality traits, where in my mood boards do you see brown pants? Brown doesn't make any sense for me. It doesn't show boldness. It doesn't show humor. It doesn't show black and white. It's not any of these bright colors. There's no clowning around when it comes to brown pants. It means nothing to me. So of course, that's why brown pants never worked for me. So hopefully through this exercise, whenever you go through this for yourself, you will get some validation as to why certain things have and have not been working for you your whole life.
Yeah, into it. I don't really see you like sporting khakis either. It's like not... Yeah, I can never see you and say, oh, like, hey, you got some nice khakis there, which is okay to say, hey, you have some nice khakis. It's for you, yes, not for me, but I don't really see you like, yeah, khakis with
exactly.
some pleats. Oh, yeah.
I think that's what a wonderful part of this too, is that I think whenever you identify these things for yourself, you then naturally, you get excited about yourself and you get more self-confident, but I think you also start to identify how other styles are special for other people, and you can start to celebrate when somebody else has a different style for you because it works so well for them. And you can really, you know, start to celebrate when other people can rock some brown cargo pants.
Exactly.
Because it's not for you.
Yeah. Yeah. You're never don't ever khaki shame somebody.
No.
If that's a thing.
Unless, well, Target doesn't wear khakis anymore, but that was the only time I think khaki, it was fun to khaki shame somebody is when you accidentally walked into a Target wearing the exact Target uniform.
Yeah.
Then I think you deserve to get made
and then
fun
you're
of just a little bit.
People are asking you questions. You're trying to help them, you know, steer them in the right direction.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, your shift's over. You're trying to punch out, and you realize you don't work there. It's a whole thing. So don't go to Target in a red shirt. I guess that's the big takeaway here, folks. Don't go to Target in a red shirt. So that's awesome. Well, we do have Claudia up next, actually, by the way, as we head down to our final minutes. Just kind of share the schedule with you, as you can see right here. Finally, we have green popping through your face right there in the green screen. Finally works with the schedule. But yeah, she's going to be up next, which will be a lot of fun. Feel free to continue on the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge with those neural filters. But it's fun to kind of continue the Illustrator theme for the next 30 minutes. And a little mobile app design. You know, I don't know. Is Talon going to be painting his face? I don't know. I guess we'll see. What's up, Talon? Don't worry. We won't judge you either way. If you're not going to paint your face, it's all good. Right? I'm channeling my inner Meg when I say that. Like, hey, you know, it's okay if you don't want to paint your face. So, anyways, and then Jesse, will design in the dark, wrapping up the end of the day. So, oh, Meg, we're kind of heading into our last minute. Darn it! And I'm getting all sad now. I'm getting all sad. Well,
I'm
so
excited to wash my face.
Okay, there we go.
It's a happy ending for me because it's really sticky around the mouth area, and I keep accidentally
probably tasting
it a little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I guess it's not blueberry flavored either, is it?
No, it's not.
No. Well, thank you so much, Meg Lewis. And we could find you online. You can check the description below and to hopefully follow you and check out your further adventures on Instagram and elsewhere. Does that sound good, Meg?
There are a lot of adventures, and I hope you come on them with me.
Yay. Well, thank you, Meg. We do want to come on your adventures. You're a lot of fun. You're just fun to hang out with, and I hope we get to see you in person sometime.
I sure do, too.
All that good stuff would be cool. So, all right, give Megan, or Meg, why did I say Megan? Meg a warm welcome and thank you and everything. So thank you so much. And we'll see you soon. Stick around, everybody. Claudia's up next. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.